Hi, guys, and welcome back to Shades of Gray. And what I'm going to go through right now is the things you're going to have to go through to get your final approval for your home loan. Now, when you first started this process, you got a pre approval. What that covered was the cost of the home, the lot, and any structural changes you made. So, if you finished the basement, if you added a gourmet kitchen, if you added a morning room. So, what didn't that loan cover? The design center and or design studio changes. Now, mind you, I'm going to use that interchangeably. Mine called a design center. I know some people call theirs a design studio. We're talking about the same place. This is the places where you pick your cabinet colors, you pick your faucet fixtures, your appliance packages. That was never covered in the cost of your loan. So if you ever see homes that are called moved in ready, for new builds, that's because the loan may have fell through. That's one of the reasons. The people may have just backed out of the deal. But mind you, they've already picked out the cabinet color, they picked out the carpet they wanted, and then the deal fell through. So when I see the move-in ready homes, I'm kind of heartbroken because I know somebody lost the home that they were building. So when you go through your pre-approval, I'm sorry, when you go through your final approval, you may have to redo some of the documents you already sent them for your pre-approval. What things will you have to send? Your pay stubs. You sent them pay stubs from 6 months ago. They need your last 30 days worth of pay stubs for right now. You have to get that to them. Um, I would say don't make any lifestyle changes. This is not the job time when you're trying to get approved for a loan for a house. This is not the time to quit your job. I know your boss may have worked your last nerve. Keep it in and stick with your job. This is not time to get a divorce because when you guys apply for the home, you guys apply for it together and your credit may be stronger together than apart. This is not time to get married. Unless you already applied with both of your names on this home, don't get married and then try to apply for the loan together and then you found the person that you with got bad credit and now you're going to lose your house or you can't put their house on it because that I'm gonna let that go, but that whether or not you can put your spouse on your house that's another discussion between y'all. I'm not gonna do that because I ain't married, so I'm gonna let y'all do that. This is not time to make big purchases because you don't want to buy a car at this time because that will affect your credit rating. In fact, you want to leave your credit rating low as much as you can. The only thing you should be doing for your credit is paying off your bills. That is it. I know you need that new washer and dryer. I moved in, I did not have one because me charging a washer and dryer on my credit card would affect my credit score. Unless you could pay that washer and dryer off before the bill is due, don't do it. It's not worth it. What I did to prepare myself is I knew I would not have a wash and dry here for probably about 2 weeks. Is I made sure every stitch of clothing I had was washed except what I wore to move in that day. Everything else had been washed. And honestly, I have way too many clothes. I pretty much am the same height I have been since probably the 8th grade. I'm still 5'5". The clothes that I have, I keep clothes because my weight fluctuates so much. I go between a size 10 to a size 18. So I still have jeans that are a size 10. I still have jeans that are a size 18. And right now I'm a size 14. So, and then I wear big t-shirts like this that are huge. So, I mean, I have way too much stuff. So that's another thing. I know it's hard. I know you get into these new houses and you think, I need so much furniture. Do not buy that furniture right now. It will affect your credit score so negatively, and you could actually end up losing the loan on your home if you do this. So hold back, breathe, tell yourself you'll get it once you move. Once you get that approval or they label you clear to close, mess up your credit. I don't care. Do whatever the heck you want. But right now, that house is your main focus. If you hear squeaking, it's the chair. If you hear like somebody's lawnmower is going off, and if you hear a hum, that's the fridge. So I'm sorry about all the background noise. So here are the things that I went through It kind of messed me up when I went along the way. I'm gonna try to talk fast because once I get to a certain amount of time, this thing stops recording and I have to start all over again. So, so the first thing I went through is I transferred all of my money for the down payment into one account at the beginning of the month. This was a bad idea. Why? Because when I gave them my statements, my banking statements did not show at the end of March that I had the money in my account for this. They looked at me and said, Miss Gray, we don't have any proof of your account. I was like, I have it. I sent them, I said, well, we need your transaction history. So I went to my bank account, printed my transaction history, sent to her. She said, that is not official. We need something official from the bank showing us your transaction history and your current, the current amount in your account. Now, mind you, my realtor, hey Simone, is CC'd through all of this. So at this point, she's calling me and saying, Tiffany, you have to literally walk into the bank, tell them this is for a house loan and you need your transaction history and your current account, the amount of your current account and the account numbers. So I went there and I swear the transaction history they sent me looked exactly the same like the one I sent them. The only difference is that they stamped it and said that, and they put a cover letter on top that says, here's her accounts, here's the amounts in them, here's the number if you need to call us. Thanks. That's all it was. So now I had to take a course. Banking hours the same as working hours. Luckily, my boss had actually bought a house, so he knew what I was going through at this time. So as soon as I said I needed something for the house loan, he was like, go do it. If you have somebody who's been through this process, they're not going to argue with it. They're not going to ask you, why do you need this? Why do you have to do this? Don't bother with that. So make sure that if you do any transactions, do them at the end of your month. And then that way it'll be in your bank statements and you don't have to prove anything later and running around with it like a chicken with your head cut off. Another thing I had to do is that the bank that I pulled it from was an account where I had stocks and bonds. I cashed them out and then I transferred that money. I needed proof that that money came from my stocks and bonds account. So I actually had to go to them and get a transaction history from them to prove that where I got the money from. It's like, how do people do illegal things and buy something? Because you never had proof that you had the money. Another issue that I had when I did this was that when I applied for my job that I have now, they went by another name. By the time I got the job, they changed their name. The only issue is that, one, no one told me. And two, no one goes by the new name. Everyone still calls it the old name. So when I told the loan company that I work for one company, they see my W-2s and they see another company's name on it. They're like, WTF, where do you work? So I call HR and then HR confirmed for me the name. And then she said, give me the loan officer's phone number. I will make sure that I send her your employment, your proof of employment, your start date, and also the letter saying that you can work from home for that state. I didn't even realize I needed all that until the HR person said that. She was like, oh no, you're the sixth person I help get a home loan. I know exactly what they need. Give me her number, give me her name. I will make sure she has everything she needs from me. So they need that from the HR person. And these people are not joking when they tell you they need your proof of employment. They called my job on May the 6th to ensure I still had a job. Now, mind you, I closed on May the 10th. They called my job on a Thursday before they asked me to wire transfer them the money to see if I still had a job, because they could have still backed out on the deal. Even though they tell me, oh no, Miss Gray, you got the loan, you're good to go, da, da, da. They're still calling my job. These people are not playing with this money. Okay, so I had to go through all that. Another mistake I made was the date for my home insurance. Another thing you will have to do to get this loan is that you have to get homeowners insurance. Make sure if the date you move in and the date you close is not the same, make sure you get that insurance for the date that you close. The day you sign that document that is legally your house and you need to have that house insured that day. I closed on the 10th, I moved on the 15th. I told the insurance company that the house would be mine on the 15th. I said that to the loan company, said, no, Miss Gray, the house is legally yours on the 10th. You need to go to the insurance company and have them change the date to the 10th. Now, mind you, I'm doing this in April. So I go to the website, ask them on the website, hey, I need to backdate this. They said you can't go backwards from May the 15th to May the 10th, even though it's April. I legally can't go backwards. So I had to call them, cancel one policy, make another policy, then send that new policy. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call from my insurance company telling me, oh, by the way, you still owe us for this old insurance policy. I'm like, no. I canceled that. So I had to call them back, remind them that I canceled the first policy. The second policy be covered in my mortgage, and then that whole thing got straightened out. So it can be a headache. So make sure you get your homeowner's insurance for the date that you close. It is legally your home when you sign the documentation. Keep that straight in your head. Some of the things that people go through is that once you start going through this process, you might start looking at your credit then. For you, like me, I think the only biggest purchase I ever made before this was my car. That's the first time I really paid attention to my credit. For you, your home may be the biggest purchase for you yet. And this may be the first time you really sit down and you look at your credit and you start seeing what things impact your credit. One thing is credit usage. Another thing is your credit age. And another thing is your inquiries. Your credit usage is the amount that you owe divided by the amount that you have on all your credit cards together. So let's say you had one credit card for 10 years. It has a $10,000 limit, and you currently have $3,000 charged on it. Your credit usage is at 30%. So for those keeping track at home, for credit usage, if you're between 0 to 9%, that's excellent. If you're between 10 to 29, very good. If you're at 30 to 49, you're good. If you're at 50 to 74, you're fair. If you're at 75 plus, you are at poor. So right now, this credit usage is good. Your credit usage will affect your interest rate on your home. Your interest rate will affect your monthly payment. So you're thinking to yourself, you want to get this number down. So what some people will do is they'll say, well, I'll just get a new credit card. That will up the amount of credit that I have. And then that way it will bring this number down. So let's check that. So let's say you get another credit card. The credit card gives you $10,000 more. So now you have $20,000. Your $30,000 you owed on your first credit card never changed. So now your usage is at 15%. You now went from good to very good. You're thinking to yourself, hey, Tiffany, I'm doing great. I'm very good now. Hold on. You're going too fast. Because if you forgot, you now have 2 credit cards now. Your credit age has officially gone down. You had this card for 10 years. You've had this card for 0 years. So if you take 10 plus 0 divided by 2, you now have a credit age of 5. Is this fair? No. But this is what the credit company, the credit bureaus do to you. So for credit age, if you have a credit age of 9 plus years, you're at excellent. If you have it from 7 to 8, you're very good. If you have it from 5 to 6, you're good. If you have it from 2 to 4, you're fair. And if you have it for less than 2 years, you're poor. So up here at 10 years, you were at excellent. Now you have an average of 5, you're at good. You've now dropped 2 levels. It sucks. And that will count against you way faster than having 15% credit usage will count for you. By the time this thing, the 15% will count for you, your loan might have already been rejected. Another thing that's counting against you with this new credit card is the fact that you've now had a credit inquiry. Credit inquiries, even though they have a low impact, they will hit your account way faster than anything good you ever do. So if you have 0 credit inquiries, you are at excellent. Now, home loans will see that they had already pulled your credit before, and they will probably give you a little leeway with the fact they pulled your credit before. You have an inquiry because of them, but they's like, hey, we're just double checking you, so we might not count our own inquiry. Some may, some might. You might have to check with them. But now, 0 credit checks are excellent. 1 to 2 is very good. 3 to 5 is good. 6 to 8 is fair, and 9+ is poor. So now you've gone from excellent to very good. So now you have 2 things working against you to get a lower credit usage. So now while your credit usage is going up, you got 2 things going down. So that was a mistake. So don't get a new credit card to bring down your score to 15%. Excuse me. Something else people would do, trying to be slick, is to call the current credit card company and say, hey, can you up my credit limit? You're thinking to yourself, hey, if I get them to up this will go down. Not so fast. What happens is that they do a hard inquiry to bring this number up. And that, once again, will count against you way faster than it will ever count for you. So don't up this credit limit trying to fudge the number of years. Pretty much you're trying to affect the credit limit without affecting the years that you had without affecting your credit age. Once again, that inquiry will count against you. Now you can ask them if they can do it with a soft inquiry, but a soft inquiry still counts against you. It doesn't count as much, but it still counts against you. But you also won't get the credit increase you're looking for. You may get only $1,000, $500,000, but you won't get something like $10,000 or more. So what's the best way to get this down? Pay them. That is the fastest way to get your credit usage down before it can actually affect your credit. So that is a life lesson today. I'm very sorry. My handwriting is absolutely atrocious. That is why I type for a living. But that's some of the things you have to watch out for. Like I said, don't change your job. Don't get married. Don't get divorced. Put up with your boss. Put up with your spouse. Just deal with it for a little bit. Don't make any big purchases unless you can pay cash on the spot. If you put it on your credit card, make sure you can pay it off before it's due. And pay attention to your billing cycle versus your pay date. Your pay date is always like 2 or 3 days or a week after your billing cycle. So please pay attention to your billing cycle date. And also figure out what your grace period is. For some companies, if you charge something and you pay it off within 10 days, you get no finance fees. So kind of keep that in mind. All that stuff. Once you get your letter from them that you are clear to close, then you are good to go. Do whatever you want at that point. They have already approved your loan. All you have to go do is sign your paperwork. That is it. From that point on, you can go F up your credit all the little long day. I know the first thing I did as soon as I closed, I got a credit card for a company that I wanted to buy drapes from. At this point, ball out, do what you want to do. Go get that new car, go get married, go have triplets. I don't care. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. Maybe you want to quit your job then. Buying a house and then quitting the job, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to judge you on that. But that's honestly when you can do whatever you want with your credit. Once you clear to close. And there is steps on this. There's conditional approval, which means that, hey, we have all the things we believe we got. We don't believe we're going to need anything else, but still be good. So don't let conditional approval or pre-approval have you mess up your credit. It is not your house until you are clear to close and you sign those documents. Do not play with them. Oh, another thing they gave me, I forgot to mention this. I wrote it down, but I haven't been reading my list. Was something called a credit explanation letter. You're like, what does this mean? What this means is that your name or your address is reported differently on your credit report, and they need to know why. When I say differently, I mean one account had the word apartment spelled out, the other one just said APT. One of them didn't have an apartment number at all. It just had like 999. Yeah, this is what they need explanation on. Some forms had my middle initials, some forms I signed out didn't. Some forms had my middle name spelled out, some didn't. They need to know, why is this Tiffany? I'm like, are you serious? It's the same thing. So you have to sit there and you have to write under see every single one. This is my name without my middle name. This is apartment spelled out. It's the same as number 5, blah, blah. Like you, and I'm so lucky, once again, that my realtor was CC'd on everything because she would call me, say, Tiffany, calm down. I know you're frustrated. I know they've asked you 18 million times, but just relax. They need the info to explain to their underwriters why they want to approve you. So just get through it. I promise you, once this is done, it'll be worth it. But just get through it. They actually also needed proof that I paid my earnest money deposit. Earnest money deposit is what you give them to start the build. Do you think my builder would have gone this far if I hadn't paid them their money? And they sent me to you guys to go get my loan approved. Shouldn't you already know they got paid? But no, I had to go back to the day I got my earnest money deposit, find that bank statement, and send that bank statement with the proof that they had gotten their earnest money deposit. And that actually became a headache for me because my bank changed the way they printed, changed the way they recorded their statements. They used to be from the 20th of one month to the 20th of the next month. And then at the beginning of the year, they changed it from the first of the month to the end of the month. It just so happens that I had to call them to get the right statement and the right date sequence for the earnest money deposit. And that became a freaking annoyance. But yeah, and if you so happen to do your taxes in between the date, they're going to need your new taxes. That's just the way this thing goes. It feels like just an endless stream of paperwork and more requests, but I promise you, if you want your house, it will be worth it in the end. If you're in the beginning of this process and you just got pre-approval, keep every single statement, print it out, save it to your computer, send it to a cloud storage system. Keep every single pay stub that you have on file. It will just make things easier in case your bank changes the way they do things, your bank goes out of business, you have this information on file. It will just make everything a lot easier if from the time you get pre-approval to the time you get clear to close, you keep a copy of everything for yourself on your own system in your own storage. But once you get to this point and once the bank tells your builder that you're under conditional approval, they will start sending you emails for when you can do your final walkthrough, your new home orientation, and then your closing date. They will then send you all of that information. And so the next thing I will go through is your final walkthrough. I know we're getting close, you guys. You're getting close to where I am. But like I said, this is probably the final approval for your loan is probably the most exhausting thing that you have to go through. Oh, I forgot this. I don't know why I keep forgetting this. Buying down points. So if you start looking through when they give you your loan, they usually give you like anywhere from 4 to 6 different loans that you could get approved for. Those loans will be based on the product that you get, what's being rolled into your loan, if you're having your PMI rolled into your loan. And this will affect your interest rate, your down payment, and your monthly costs. A way to bring your monthly costs and your interest rate down is to pay more on your down payment. That is called buying down points. I think for every $10,000 you give them, you get $100 off your mortgage. So if buying down points is worth it to you, please do it. If you can afford it, that's the number one. If you can afford to buy down your points, buy them down to bring your monthly payment down. But like I said, some people may get to this point and realize they cannot afford the mortgage and they back out of the deal and they lose their home that's pretty much built by now. So that's what happens, and unfortunately, that's the reality that we go through when we do this. But I'm telling you now, all this paperwork that you go through, it's worth it in the end because you get the house that you built from scratch, or you got the house that you've always wanted. You may not have gotten it built. You may have bought something that was already done. Big ups to you, especially in this market where houses that are already built go in a blink of an eye. I have nothing but respect for y'all because y'all will own it. But this is the process you will have to go through if you buy a home, period. This is all information that you need to go, you have to get. Oh, and also you need a copy of your ID. Hey, whatever. Just get them the information so you can get your loan. That's all you need to do. So next time, like I said, we will go through the final walkthrough. Woo! And in life, there is black and white. Because it's just me here by my lonesome, you are only getting, sadly, one shade of gray. Hopefully these girls will come through soon so you guys can at least get two, maybe even three shades of gray. If I can get mom on here, y'all can get 4 shades of gray. All right, guys. Bye.